our good friend Andrew Gold, right? He did a Q&A and he's talking about the dynamics on YouTube, right? Like the kind of algorithm and this kind of thing. And I think he did a pretty good job of illustrating what is motivating people when they're focusing on YouTube, right? And feeding the monster. And this is in response to somebody asking him about would he like to cover other topics, right? Other than the stuff that he focuses on, which is primarily all the anti-woke stuff at the minute now. And I thought this was interesting. So listen to this.
What new topics would you like to touch on in the future? And I think there are many that I don't. And I think there are questions later that I'll sort of labor this point. But when you make a channel like this, you are somewhat limited. And I think a lot of idealistic people are somewhat offended by this or let down by this when I talk about it, because they want to believe that here I am as some creative pioneer of the internet, just making what I want to make and what floats my boat. And to a large extent, that is true. However, it is just a fact of how YouTube works that if you release a video that is not popular as a topic among your subscribers, that video will die. It will be a waste of a lot of money that you've put into it, let alone a lot of time. Now you can argue, hang on, it's not a waste of time. You got it out there and 20 people still saw it. Okay, I get that, but I could just tweet about it as well rather than make an hour-long, huge video just for a few people to watch. The second issue is, once you do that, all the people who didn't click on it are less likely to be shown the thumbnail, the video link, for my next video. And that won't do as well. So then it's basically a downhill slope from there. You're under constant stress as a YouTuber, constantly stressed. And every video has to do incredibly well. And if one video comes out that doesn't do as well as the rest, it will influence the rest of them. Equally, if you have a couple of really big ones, as I had this month with Richie Herron, which is over 1 million, and Dr. Hilton, which is approaching 1 million fast, it lifts the rest of the channel and you start to grow at a much, much faster rate. And it is very much like gambling. It's very much, you wake up in the morning after a video's come out and the first thing is you look at your phone. That this is an addiction. And the people who get to the point where they're actually able to make a living from it, we're addicted. We are addicts with regards to YouTube. And you cannot get to this position without being so. I know some people get a bit older and more successful and they hire huge teams to take care of this kind of thing. But unless you are a Stephen Bartlett or something like that, you're basically a one-man show and you are addicted.
Well, Chris, I found that quite refreshing, really. I thought he's pretty self-aware about how the YouTube algorithm works, and a little bit like Konstantin Kisin, he's shows his hand quite readily. I mean, he's a creature of the algorithm, and he feels compelled to make clickbait essentially. But if you want to have a successful YouTube channel, you're kind of compelled to do that. I mean, there's a fair bit of truth in that, isn't there?
I mean, yes and no, but like I see a bunch of creators who choose a different path, right? Like take CoffeeZilla, for example, right? He's tried a whole bunch of different things, but when we were talking to him, he was saying, initially he was thinking he has to feed this algorithm with consistent content and whatnot, right? But then he found out that his audience actually responded to longer form investigations, even if they took time, and like that people were willing to support that. And he didn't need to do these like kind of daily news breakdowns.
Yeah,
right?
This sort of, he didn't need to do the grinding and the optimizing.
Yeah, and like what Andrew Gold is describing is audience capture, but like leaning into it. And his view that like, because what he talks about is like the success is Stephen Bartlett, right? Diary of a CEO, Chris Williamson. Yeah. That's his view of like that's the people that have made it and are doing it right. And from my perspective, those are the people that are making a lot of money, but are producing a lot of draws, right? They don't care if what the person they have on is a Brett Weinstein talking nonsense for 3 hours, as long as it gets enough downloads, or like Lex with Kanye West, right? These kind of things. So his role models are just like people that make a lot of money.
Yeah, well, of course. I mean, this is the Konstantin Kisin understanding of what it means to be successful, right? Which is they do equate metrics with success, not totally unreasonably, right? Because it is obviously the ticket to everything they want, which is monetary benefits and a higher profile and all of that stuff. Influence. Yeah. But like you said, it's not compulsory. You don't have to do that. You can simply be good, like CoffeeZilla. You can simply have something unique to offer and continue to deliver that, and with the hope that people will appreciate it. Or you could be like a Konstantin Kisin or an Andrew Gold. There are different paths, Chris, to success.
I know. So it was mainly in part, they're describing the YouTuber dynamics, which I've heard elsewhere. But what he's describing now is basically like that you must feed the algorithm in order to grow, and growth is, the goal. It's a bit like a Mr. Beast mindset, I guess. But I usually hear YouTubers talking about how that is a poison, right? That is a mindset that leads to, like the dark side, right? Producing pandering content and whatnot. And his view that like if he made something that was worthy, but like not many people saw it, or it damaged like, his ability to get future downloads, like that's the metric, right? It doesn't matter if what he produced was actually more accurate than the thing that got like more downloads or that kind of thing. So yeah, I just thought it was revealing of that mindset. And there was much more revealing stuff in that Q&A, but I'm not going to dwell on that.
I think it is revealing. I mean, like more and more, like genuinely, what do you think about this? Because I feel like more and more that the incentives at play is actually a bigger and bigger part in terms of understanding why people are like this. Like when you look at most of the gurus, they are all really focused on their metrics. Yeah, so it's true of Brett Weinstein just as much as it is of Andrew Gold, right? Yeah. Like they notice immediately when their engagement levels drop. Or Jordan Peterson. Yeah, or Jordan Peterson, when their engagement levels drop by 15%. Like they are, like Andrew says, addicted. And whether it's attention or the immediate financial benefits of getting more, subscribers and advertising revenue or whatever, I mean, that is what is driving them to be what they are. And I think, this explains a lot of what is contributing to an unhealthy discourse in America and other places in the world, where just things get, like everything gets more and more clickbaity, more and more extreme, more and more negative emotions and outrage, or conspiracy theories and delusional fantasies instead of content. It's just like, it's like junk food for the brain. But that is, that is what sells, I guess.